Boards, games. Boards, games. Board games, board games. I might be talking about KCON and a game about drawing creatures complementing the drawings and complementing the complements, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and today, going after the song, I'm going to head off to KCON. But other than that, I'll tell the story of how a game about drawing creatures complemented drawings and complemented the complements came to be. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m.ish UK time for Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. And today, episode 791, is KCON Day 1. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. And I would have liked to be there, but some days are slow. That's all I'm going to say. Yesterday it's like, I need to do this thing, but then there's all these other things I need to do, and oh my gosh, I'm going to apologize to Jack. Like, some things are just going to be a bit late, and packing took me longer than it should have. Getting on the train was an ordeal, like how packed it was. It definitely, within 1 meter, there were so many people. There were like 8 people, literally within the vestibule. It was ridiculous. Hello, Timmy. I hope you're having a good day. And hello, Time Roller. Lovely to see you. And I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. What is going on with you? Let's quickly talk about what are some of your recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. What games have you played recently? Have you played anything? Yesterday I lie. I was going to say yesterday I didn't get to play anything, but when I came back, I did actually play a game about quickly grabbing cards and judging them against free descriptions with Josie. We kind of pretended that there were 4 of us, so it wasn't a real game. We didn't get the full emotional payoff, but Josie understood how the game was played, so that on Saturday, Josie will be able to demonstrate it. I'm really excited with how it came out, and I'm really looking forward to doing my 2 p.m. event, seeing how they go. But yeah, I've not played anything other than that kind of teaching thing. Time Roller says, I played PAX Viking. Oh, wow. So that's a fairly serious game about the evolution of how Vikings came to be and trying to represent them properly. Am I correct? I've not played it myself, but I hope you enjoyed it. Other than that, let's talk quickly about a brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Brilliant thing. I'm going to say that windows. Big windows. Like right now, I'm looking over there at the edge of the room. This room is kind of shaped like a diamond, like a little triangle with a tiny corner where the outside wall is. And I'm sure there's a reason why this room can't have as much light maybe as the next room. But here, the window is really small, and sure, we get to tiny bits of daylight. But having a big window where there's streaming lights and you get proper light and you're able to draw. Windows are good. You see the world outside. You feel connected. Yeah, windows are brilliant. Let's hear it for windows. Yeah. I assume this was, about PAX Viking rather than windows, but anyway. So that is that. Other vlog things, as always, because this is a stream video, please feel free to comment, ask questions, follow if you're watching it live. If you're not watching it live, then, I love being asked questions. I love trying to interact with people and hearing what their feedback is, hearing someone enjoyed my games, or someone's excited about them, or someone's got a question, or whatever. Please ask me a question. Now, In terms of vlog, managed to get to Milton Keynes very late at night, arrived here at 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, I mean, it was meant to arrive 8:57, even though I'd been super late. And then the train started slowing down, stopping, and then eventually got here, I think, 9:15 for some reason. And so, like, a half-hour trip turns into like almost 1 hour. And yeah, hopefully the trip back will be better. But it was such a delight to see Josie. Josie is like just one of my favorite people. They're not here, otherwise I'd be a bit more mindful of what I say. But yes, I'm looking forward to going to KCON, and I'll show you more about that tomorrow and the day after, and tell you all about it on Monday. Do I feel like Alice in the Looking Glass? Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm going to say I don't. Yeah, so you're not talking about Alice in Wonderland. You're talking about the sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Well, Alice already has an awareness of what's going on in this strange world and is returning. You know what? In a sense, yes, I do, because this is my second time to KCON, just like Alice in the Looking Glass. There's a lot of surprises to be had, but I do have some agency. I am kind of the heroine of this story, just like Alice. I mean, I'm not going to say I feel exactly like, but there's definitely some similarities. I hope that answers your question sufficiently. So let's go over to a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings, then complementing the complements. How did this come to be? Well, I wrote a Kickstarter update yesterday. Please do read that if you're curious, where I talked about, and I sent a link to how Sean on the video sparks an idea, said, hey, here some people draw creatures, you vote on which is the best creature. That was a fine thing, but people feel tense about drawing ability. People don't want to draw things and then who's the best drawing or who's the funniest or who did these things the best. You could go like Tattoo Story style, where it's like, okay, who did the best many arms, who did the best interpretation of long eyelashes. But I wanted to get away from that. And in that moment, as I was talking to Dina, I said, what if it was a game about drawing creatures and then complementing the drawings? And then in that moment, my mind did some gymnastics. I said, and complementing the complements. So, like back then, my idea was that everyone would draw based on a bunch of creature features. It didn't really matter how many. There'd probably be some communal, some in front of themselves, give it some solidarity. So the key thing about the communal ones is that it gives it some cohesion. So it feels like, hey, I'm not drawing exactly the same thing as you, but there's something in common. Then the second phase was always going to be everyone gets complimented. So I reveal my drawing, everyone compliments me. Alice reveals her drawing, everyone compliments her. Then you could say Time Roller reveals the drawing, everyone compliments Time Roller. Timmy reveals the drawing, everyone compliments Timmy. And then this is the idea that I had before I playtested it. I thought, what if people aren't voting on the best drawing, but voting on the best compliment? So you would vote on whoever you felt maybe gave you the best compliments or gave the best compliments in general, and you'd say, okay, Timmy's compliments were amazing. And then we all, maybe two of us vote for Timmy, and Timmy's going to vote for someone else because Timmy can't vote for himself, of course. And then one person votes for some, I don't know, but let's say Timmy gets the most votes. Then it's the final phase where Timmy is the winner, and now everyone has to compliment Timmy's compliments. So that was the thing. I never actually thought, oh, maybe we should just be complimenting Timmy. That could have worked as well. But it felt like I wanted to embrace that little bit of silliness, because drawing creatures, sure. Complimenting the drawings, sure. I mean, that's a little bit unusual. Guaranteeing that everyone gets complimenting the compliments. Wow, now you are kind of getting into the space of ridiculousness. And that's kind of what I want to embrace, that ridiculousness, and thinking to myself, okay, how can we all compliment Timmy's compliments? Let's say Timmy was voted the best complimenter. And then, even before I played it, I thought, that doesn't quite work. What if I wasn't a fan of Timmy's compliments? I mean, I'm sure that Timmy's compliments are great, but what if I forgot about one of them? What if I can't quite remember what Timmy said to me because I'm complimenting something that happened a while back? It's not like I can look at Timmy and say, "Hey, Timmy, I love your style. I love that hat, and like it really offsets your hair and your face really nicely." Or, "Hey, those glasses look really cool on you." Or, "Hey, you're rocking those leggings, girl." Whatever. I mean, we can't, I'm not there to look at the person or the thing or to keep my memory fresh. I need to remember. And that's a bit of a challenge. So even before I did it, I said, what if, what if there isn't really a winner? What if we just, at the end, compliment the compliment that we like the best? So everyone who gets their compliments complimented, it is kind of like you've won. Because not everyone's going to get their compliments complimented, because in that example, unless someone felt like my compliment was the best, they're not going to compliment me. And there is this slight competition in terms of, oh, I feel like I'm doing, I want to give you better compliments so I can compliment. And then I play tested it. I think I tested it with Mina, who I used to live with, Chris, who I used to live with, but years before, and I think Layla was there, and possibly someone else. For the first playtest, I had essentially um, worked out the bare minimum number of cards. I had worked out, okay, let's make sure that this works. Okay, how many things am I going to need? This is a good way to play test it. Something, if you're not quite ready to commit, if you're like, oh, do I want to spend the effort to work out the entire deck of cards? Instead, what you might say is, okay, how many cards do I actually need in one game? Well, for one game, we need, let's say we have two in the middle, or I can't remember how many I had back then. Let's say we have one in the middle, and I think it was actually two in the middle to start off. So we had two in the middle, two per person. Let's say it's a 5-player game. That means we need two per player plus two is 12. So 12 creature features. I can draw that. And maybe I'll draw a bit more so that if we play it a second time, we can shuffle them up and play again and have different things going on. And then, do I want anything else? I think even at the start, I did think, when I think through, compliments in the drawing, that's kind of easy. That's something that people are used to doing. You can talk about the pretty colors, how the creature looks super cute or looks super scary or evokes an emotion. You can talk about how you like the energy of the line, or you like the way they used the materials that they had, or the way they implemented something else. But then complimenting a compliment, I don't think that's something that anyone's ever, well, I'm sure some people have done it before, but I think that for the vast majority of people who play this game, this will be the first ever time that they've actually complimented the compliment. And what that then means is that they have to really think about the compliment and really analyze it, because to compliment something is kind of like, you have to dissect it. You have to, for a good compliment at least, you have to be specific, you have to be genuine, and there will be some truth. I mean, there will be some good in there. Like, let's look at the thing behind me. I mean, if I quite like the fact that it's kind of shiny. That's kind of cool. It's look, actually, it feels quite nice and smooth to touch. I mean, it took me a moment. I'm not necessarily a fan of everything else going on with this wallpaper and behind me, but oh, it's even slightly. Is it embossed? No, but this part and this part have slightly different textures. Oh, and that's the thing. Like, you need to examine the thing so that you can compliment it. And so when you're complimenting the compliments, you then need to think to yourself, okay, were they thorough? Because thoroughness is good. Were they brief? Because sometimes brevity can be brilliant. Did they use fluent language? Did they use lovely words? Were they specific? Were they genuine? Were they yeah, were they directing it clearly as a compliment that only could be a compliment for this one thing? Because it's all well and good saying, hey, great job, time roller. But if you say, hey, great job, this, you know, when you wash the dishes, I was a bit tired, and the work that you did managed to give me back a lot of energy. And that's kind of a way of thanking someone, but thanks and compliments are definitely intermingled. Anyway, so before that first playtest, I think I had a few card bits written down also where I was trying to guide people through complimenting the compliments, because I could see that this was going to be a tricky thing. In that first playtest, I think one of the players really struggled to even give the compliments for the drawings. And people were generally clearly struggling with the complimenting the compliments. But there was something nice there. If we all played it the second time, and it wasn't like I was forcing anyone. Like, I said, okay, shall we play something else, or do you want to play it again? Like I normally do for any game. And then people are usually either, yeah, that was a good fun game, let's play it again, or it was okay, but it's a bit too mathsy, or it's a bit too saccharine, or it's a bit too sweet for me, let's play something else. But everyone's like, yeah, let's give it another go. And then they wanted to give it another go. And everyone was smiling, and it was like, okay, there's clearly something here. I took it to the regular Friday daytime playtest meetup group, and yeah, I can't remember who exactly was there, but definitely David Brain and Ellie was there. And I remember one of David Brain's compliments of a compliment, where David Brain complimented someone else saying, oh, that word used, that word was exactly what I was going for. So thank you for using that word. And that was a really good word in your compliment. Hello, Josie.
Morning.
Morning, Josie. I'm just talking about a game about drawing creatures, complimenting the drawings and complimenting the compliments. And yeah, it felt like everyone generally enjoyed it. And I'm going to say this is the second game that I think there's only been two games really that I've ever made where I felt like I have no idea if people will even be up for this. Because a game about the first Busy Bargain Bag, a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some makes noises, it's like, will people get on board with making these noises? And it was fantastic. So this is Josie's voice that you're hearing in the background.
I said, of course they will.
But do you want me to move it, or would you rather stay off camera? But then with a game about drawing creatures, complimented drawings and complimented the compliments, I took it to AirCon, and we had 50 copies. I don't think we quite sold out. I think we had like about 10 left.
Yeah, we nearly sold out.
Like, and I probably should have kept more copies for myself. But then there was a second edition that I asked Chris to make it prettier, and there was, but I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me talk about the few changes that went from that second. Thank you very much, Time Roller. I love those emojis of congratulations. Thank you. And from that second playtest session to that first printing, what did I actually do? I guess I looked at the list of creature features. I tried to make sure, firstly, that there were 54 of them. I tried the first level. I tried to make sure that they weren't ever overlapping. But early days, you could have, I think, a bird leg and also like a human leg or on the same card. And that's like, you can do that. You can have one birdie leg and one human leg. I don't know if it was like exactly like that, but you get the point. And the Nick Humberston, who's helped me so much at UK Games Expo, lovely person, said, "Oh, I don't know about this, Bez. I think you could do a better job." And I think they were right, because I have done the better job where, yeah, Nick kind of said, "Oh, instead of doing this, think about how these adjectives can apply to this and go through the different body parts," and helped me see how it can be done in a slightly more systematic way. And so now with, like, you could probably have a few more things. Like, you could probably have, I've just thought of the cards, like you could have like eyebrows in a weird place. Like, there's nothing like that. I mean, where would it even go? I don't know. But you know, I kind of systematically thought about, okay, what does a creature have? Yes, we're going to base it on parts of the body. There were a few things that were to do with the clothing, a few things that humans don't have, like wings or tentacles. Is there even a tail? I don't think there's any card that forces you to put a tail on things. There should have been. Wow.
No, I don't think there is.
I think there should be an expansion one day. I don't know.
Weird eyebrows and tails.
Oof. I mean, I think that this edition, I'm still happy with it. Like, I'm just saying that if it does well enough, like in a year's time or 2 years' time, I don't know when I'll. But there's a few additional bits to go. And Time Roller says ear brows, elbow brows. Oh, imagine that's like eyebrows on your elbows and eyebrows just on your ears, little furry bits. And that would be,
Eyebrows under your eyes.
oh, eyebrows under your eyes, yes. But that's one thing that I did. And honestly, once I'd seen that the game worked a few times, I didn't need to do much more playtesting. It's not one of those games where there's any value in working out the strategy or working out the numbers or balancing things. It's kind of a case of, well, either it's worth making or it's not. Out busy bargain bags that by printing 50 copies, I didn't, honestly, if I'd sold 5 copies, let's say, I would have been sad. I would have been a bit disappointed, but it would have been a financial hit that it wouldn't have been like the worst thing of my year. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I print 1,000 copies, like back when I wasn't doing print on demand, I don't know if I would have been able to afford that kind of financial hit. No way. And I think that's the beauty of print on demand, that it allows me to just generate a lot more stuff and see how people respond to that. And that's very much what I'm pushing forwards into, in that it's first edition busy bargain bags. And before it printed, I spent, I'm going to say, a couple of weeks. Like, I basically went on Google, I typed about different search results of how to give good compliments. And I read everything in the first like few pages and watched all the videos. And I took a lot of notes and I tried to dissect all those things into about 50 cards. And I feel quite good about what I wrote. And hopefully the backs of the cards, it's at the start, I'm going to be honest, I wanted to write more. I wanted to write 50 things about complimenting compliments. And I wanted to write 50 things about complimenting drawings. But that's too much. There weren't 50 unique things to say about complimenting compliments. But I did manage to write 50 things when I said, okay, I can write things about complimenting drawings, complimenting compliments, and just the value of compliments in general, and also about how to receive compliments, because that's also quite important. Just remembering that you just say thank you. You've got to
Your
sit down.
hair's looking nice today, Bez.
Thank you very much, Josie. That's an example of a lovely compliment from Josie. And you know why that's also a nice compliment? Because Josie can see that I put a little bit of work into it,
Yeah.
that I've actually washed it. And I mean, I've not spent as much time as I could, but like, I'm not going to overblow the amounts of effort, but even small things are worth complimenting and appreciating. And I think that's the super lovely thing. And so, whilst if someone is in the finished game, if someone's really struggling to compliment a compliment, they might look over at their free card, see the other side, and not get any advice on how to compliment a compliment, which would be unfortunate. But hopefully, those tips do get them into the right mindset. That's what I'm basically hoping. And hopefully, in subsequent games, it will become easier. And frankly, if you're really struggling, all you could say is, that was a good compliment you gave me. I mean, that's a compliment, right, Josie?
Yep. But well, that made me feel nice.
Yeah. I think that if you're really struggling, just say how it made you feel or just say it was good because that's fundamentally what you're trying to do. And you can be more specific. Anyway, as I said, second edition, all the graphics, like, well, I should say first edition, I wanted to make sure that it looked a little bit fancier. I didn't just want it to be an off-the-shelf font. So for the first time, I used my own font. Like in a bind, it was hand-drawn, but it was actually hand-drawn per card. Too much to do. So I drew a couple of fonts. One was more bubbly for the creature features. One was more slick. I think that elevated it slightly, I'd like to think, gave it a soft feel, and the fonts imbued it with the emotion that I wanted. And then for the sequel, the second edition, Chris added lovely bits that were based on photographs of light whizzing around. And then there's literally 50 unique bits. So some of them are flipped or color shifted, but when you have them on the table, you're not going to ever see two things that are the same. I mean, exactly the same. They might look similar, but it just makes the table look a bit prettier. And now, for the third edition, it's going into the box, and I think that's the way it's going to be for the future of all my games. Probably first edition, busy bargain bag, test it out. Then, if it works well, maybe a second edition where I'm like, okay, I'm charging £7.50 now, but then I'll get it into a box when I can. And I'm really happy with, if you're watching this, if you've supported the Kickstarter, thank you very much. If you haven't, then let me copy paste the link so that you can go and please back it. If you don't feel like you want the games, but you want to support me, back it for £1, and it really does help. And you can even get me to compliment something of your choice. You can get me to compliment a place or an object or what's animal, I said. But not a person because that's too specific. I want it to be something that I can sort of research and be like, okay, I understand this thing. Whereas people, I might not know them. But yes, please check that out. Thank you so much, Time Roller, for those lovely rainbow emojis. And yeah, I'm feeling good about that. So I think that's wrap up. Josie, do you want to give the question of the day? Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way.
What's the best compliment you've ever had?
Oh, what's the best compliments you've ever had? Oh, wow, that's a tough question. Okay, I don't have the best long-term memory. So,
Okay, well, the one that most sticks in your memory.
the one that most sticks in my memory is the same one that I talked about yesterday.
Oh.
Because so yesterday when I wrote my Kickstarter update, I mentioned that I had someone. So at Spiel, I had some games that I was going to give to publishers if they wanted to give them to publish them, and I had a few games left over at the end. And on Sunday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give these to people at my 2 p.m. event, and like, I'm just going to run that. I'd rather not take them back to the UK, if you know what I mean. And so someone I demoed some games with around 4 p.m. and I was like, hey, would you like, and I think I can't remember if they bought something or not, but I gave them something and they said, I'm actually going to paraphrase them. I've not checked if I can quote them, but I think it's okay if I paraphrase them. I'm not revealing their identity or anything. But what they said is that out of all the games they got at Spiel, it was their most played, which was like,
That's a compliment.
It is a compliment. And you know what, like, for me, compliments that stick in my mind yeah, that sticks in my mind because it was recent. But also, it's something specific. It's something measurable. It's something that I've clearly worked hard on. And like when someone compliments Yogi or In a Bind and then they actually send a photo of it, that's an amazing compliment because they've clearly worked hard on it. And if someone works hard on, sharing a photo or a video or even uses flowery language and writes a full paragraph, like even within a tweet, I got this one compliment from Room 51. And Room 51 said like some amazing things about my design. And it was because, they hadn't just said Bez is an amazing designer. I'm actually going to see if I can find this tweet right now. Oh, there we go. No. There we go. Bez is an extremely special board game designer. She has created games that elicit a whimsical, childlike feel that we all have within us. This is not an easy thing to do and is nothing short of brilliant. Her games are simple, quirky, and just plain fun. Wow, that is... And telling me how it makes you feel. I mean, obviously, not everything needs this amazing paragraph of compliments, but even on Twitter, like 250 characters, I think it is, you can get a lot of emotion. And sometimes you don't need a superlative, and compliments should be honest. Like sometimes you can say, like, if you said Bez is a great board game designer, like, I mean, that would also be a compliment. It doesn't need to be Bez is brilliant or Bez is extremely special. And also, saying extremely special, I'm going to acknowledge that within that word, there can be the connotation of slightly negative connotation of the word special, because, oh, you're just special. But then going on and expounding upon this, like saying how it makes you feel, the whimsical childlike feel, saying that it resonates not only with you, but probably with others, and then complimenting not just the result, but also the processing. This is not an easy thing to do. And then reaffirming it at the end. That is an amazing compliment. And so, yes, what is the best compliment that you've gotten? In the comments, let us know. Josie, what's the best compliment that you can receive?
I asked the question and I'm thinking I can't think of one. Recently, maybe it was just that I'm a genuine person. So that was quite a nice compliment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you think about the context in which that was given?
Yeah, we were just discussing stuff, and this person just said it was out of the blue. It wasn't like it was just a out of the blue comment.
So it was like something that had clearly been bubbling over, and they'd been thinking this for a while. Josie, you're quite a genuine person.
Yeah.
And that was it. And like
That's
just kind
really
of
nice, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't need to be an occasion. And I think that's the key thing. Like, look, games are a magic circle. Like, you go into games and you can lie or whatever, or you can do things that you wouldn't normally do in real life. But I do think that you do develop skills. You do learn how to react quickly, or contort a little bit, or strategize better, plan ahead, or indeed compliment better. And I really hope that this is something that people will do. And compliments can just sometimes be, hey, by the way, I really like that dress and everything you're wearing, the red and black, it really works together.
Thanks, guys.
And, oh, wow, Time Roller says, I always feel enlightened after spending time with you, Bez.
Oh,
Thank you for time well spent. Lots of love to you. That is such a lovely compliment. Thank you for expressing that. I really appreciate having you here. I really appreciate you and Timmy and like everyone. I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate you, the way that you express yourself through emojis, just so that even if you don't necessarily have something that you can express through words, then I know that you're there, and it makes me feel enraptured with your presence. So at this point, over to you. What are you up to? You can share button if you want to. I am going to spend about 3 minutes in the car,
It's about 3 minutes.
heading over to the venue. And so, thank goodness I'm basically there already. Otherwise, like it would be, yeah, thank goodness I don't have the stress of yesterday. So we should be there a bit earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going to check where my 2 p.m. events will actually be because that's kind of important. Meet James, maybe meet Jane, like run my 2 p.m. Maybe play some games.
We
Then
could
I'll
play games. That would be novel.
yeah. Then I'll run my 2 p.m. event. Then we'll eat some chocolate. Then we'll maybe play some more games. Oh, then we've got the baked goods thing. There's going to be a bakery cook-off. Do you want to be a judge for it?
Oh, is there? Well, I might not be able to eat them, though, Bez, so no, I probably shouldn't be a judge.
Oh, yeah. You can't be a judge.
No.
I'm sorry.
I can be a judgmental vegan, but I can't be a judge.
So the important thing about being a judge is that you give, you have to give some analysis and thoughts about things. And last year, Leanne and I and a small child were super critical. And I don't mean we were super harsh. I just mean that we were getting really into it. We gave 3 scores. First one was for tastiness. Second one was for aesthetics. Third one was for the name. And then we did allow ourselves to tweak the overall scores if we wanted a little bit. But that we felt gave a good sense of, so that people, once they'd done all that work baking, we felt like they deserve some feedback, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they should get any more feedback? I mean, maybe we need one more. Like maybe it should be taste and then texture.
Or presentation as well.
Oh, aesthetics.
Yeah, aesthetics. Did you do aesthetics?
Yeah, I said
okay.
Taste, aesthetics, and yeah, maybe taste is so important that we should actually do mouthfeel. I'll have to chat to Leanne.
Mouthfeel.
Like we are the head judges. Like our names are on the website. It's a very important role to taste the cakes. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yes, as Time Roller says, it will be fun. And we might play Root. We might go to the what's the word I'm looking for? Quiz.
Oh,
I'm
never bothered about quizzes.
Shall we? I mean, I'm quite happy to just skip the quiz, and like I would rather play Root twice.
I would rather play a game than do the quiz.
Okay, so Josie and I might not go to the quiz, but Jane wants to go to the quiz. But I'm sure Jane will find other people to do the quiz with.
But if she doesn't, we'll do the quiz.
I'm sure Jane will find other people to do the quiz with. Yes, absolutely. What are you up to? And wrap up before we finish up. To recap and wrap up, yesterday was difficult. Yeah, I just had a really shitty day, if I'm being honest. But it was lovely to see Josie. I did what? Yeah, I made some nice roast potatoes. I'm quite proud of that. No oil, just quickly sliced, put into the boiler, by which I mean the pan, put into the oven. And I realized when I go to Thailand, I'm not going to have an oven. I better use my oven as much as I can while I'm here. No, in much of Asia, an oven is a very rare thing. True story. Like you get hobs, but not ovens. So yes, roast potatoes will be a thing of the past. I might only get them like when I come back to Europe.
Sure how I feel about that.
Like you're not sure if you want to come and visit me anymore.
Well, I'll visit you, but I'm not sure about the lack of oven.
Yeah. So what else? Oh yeah, we played we sort of played a game about quickly grabbing cards and judging them against 3 descriptions. Lovely chat. I had a shower, we're ready to head off. And I talked about how a game about drawing creatures complemented drawings and complemented complements came to be. And I do hope if you back the Kickstarter, you will find that this has so much value, not only in the moments while you're playing it, the smiles that it brings you, but myself, I definitely found after playing it like 4 or 5 times, it started to change my perspective on things a lot more than I imagined it would have. I mean, I find myself really appreciating compliments more, and yeah, trying to compliment other people, being mindful of searching for the positive, because that's a practice that, yeah, life is kind of shitty in a lot of ways, but there is still good out there. So sometimes it's worth searching for the good. So with that all said, if you want to check me out, I am Stuffed by Bez everywhere. stuffbybeth.com/streams will tell you what's out in the next while. Thank you very much, everyone. Share, spread the word. And as always, lots of love. And bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a lovely day.